Here we go.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talk Horror to Me. I am one of your hosts, author Jennifer Ann Gordon, and I am joined today by my two other co-hosts, the author Carly Yates and journalist and podcast host and photographer Brooke Wright. Welcome, ladies. It's good to see you.
It's
Hey.
wonderful to see you. Hello.
So this week we are discussing the movie Eli, which is it's a Netflix movie. And so if you haven't seen Eli yet, just remember we are going to be doing spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, turn off our show right now and then go watch the movie and then come back.
And I'm Carly Yates. I'm an author of a few series, and I've got a short story coming out in Shattered Illusions from the Author's Table, and it should be out November 30th.
Oh, congratulations.
Nice. Congratulations. Oh,
Brooke,
and
what are you working on?
Currently, I am working on broadcasting my very first book review YouTube channel. So I'm receiving books from a lot of authors to review, and I don't
That's
start
awesome.
reviewing them until December 1st.
No, that's very exciting.
Yes.
So like I said, my name is Jennifer Ann Gordon. I am a horror author. I have my book, Beautiful, Frightening, and Silent, is the Kindle Award winner for Best Horror of 2020. So that is very exciting. And my series, the Hotel series, which includes From Daylight to Madness, and the follow-up book, which is called When the Sleeping Dead Still Talk, actually comes out November 19th. So very soon. Yes. So
Congratulations.
yes, it's going to be a book birthday. So yes, I'm very excited about that. And
Nice.
and I'm one of the hosts of the show Vox Vomitus on the Global Authors on the Air network too. So that's all of that kind of keeps me busy right now.
Yes.
You two should save me your books and sign a copy, and I'll buy it from you so I can review on my channel.
I would love
Okay.
that. Yeah, I have two of my books here. I'm still waiting on my author copies of my new release. It's like Christmas.
I've got most of mine here. The only one I'm missing is book 2, but I will have more of that soon. So
Nice.
Yeah, we'll send them to you. So, Brooke, was it your idea to watch Eli?
It was mine.
It was your idea. Okay. So, Carly, had you seen it before?
Yes, I had. And
okay.
I rooted for Eli the entire way through.
I will say I was so impressed with that boy, the actor. I don't know his name. I was trying to look it up, but I don't have my glasses.
Charlie Shotwell.
Charlie Shotwell. He was incredible.
Yes.
And I had some issues with the movie that we'll talk about, but I loved him. He sold it for me. Like from his first scene, really through the end, even though I didn't like the end, I was still like, go for it, Eli.
I like the little girl. She was out there.
Well, I love her because she's on Stranger Things too.
Yes.
So the second I saw her, I'm like, yes.
Yes. Sadie Sink from Stranger Things. Yes. And she did a good job too.
Yeah. So for people who are watching this who maybe haven't seen Eli is a story of a young boy who has a really, really severe autoimmune disease. So he appears that he's allergic to everything in the world. He's allergic to air, dust, grass, everything. So he lives in like a little plastic bubble. When he goes outside, he has to basically wear a spacesuit. And his parents find a experimental doctor who might or might not be able to cure him. So they bring him to this big old spooky house that's kind of a hospital, kind of a spooky house, and for him to get his treatments. So that is the gist of the movie. So I loved the autoimmune disease part of it. Like I thought that was even before we get to the big twist, I thought it was really, that was horrifying enough. And I loved that aspect of it because I felt it was very relatable. I don't know if it's because I have really bad asthma and really bad allergies, and sometimes I feel like little Eli in a plastic bubble.
Yeah, I have several autoimmune diseases that just, I was like, oh, that poor kid. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And to see the way his skin reacted to the sun, and his mom was just like, breathe, just breathe.
Yeah. You know, I loved the mother-son relationship too a lot.
Yeah.
But so again, so for people who haven't watched the movie, the mom and the son and Eli have this really, really intense connection. And I always felt like just from the very beginning that the father just didn't seem at all connected to the boy.
Not at all. What do you think, Brooke?
I liked it, but it just, I don't know. It was just a movie. I was just like, oh, okay. I like the ending more because finding out that he was the devil's son was, I was like, wow. I never even thought that. Like, I thought he was innocent and everything. Like, I was feeling sorry for him. So I was like, oh.
I thought that the mother was doing this to him.
Yeah.
That's what I really thought.
I went back and forth. I thought, because there was a line that the father says at one point when the mom is praying, and the dad said something like, well, I've always been faithful. I've always been a faithful man. And when he said that, I thought, oh, Eli's not his son.
Yeah.
She cheated on him. So right away, I knew obviously that Eli was probably not his son, but I went back and forth between thinking he has this autoimmune disease because he got it from whoever his birth father is. But then I started to think that it was actually a movie that was about Munchausen by proxy syndrome, which is when, you know, usually a mom poisons and makes their child sick. So
for attention.
So I kind of got that same vibe that you got, Carly, that the mom was doing it.
Yeah, but I didn't think that till later, until he found all this evidence of the children not making it, and then he goes down and he can actually breathe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, his mother was doing this. That was the first thing I thought.
Yeah. I thought it too, because, and again, I'm going to go back to, I thought she was doing it because she had cheated on her husband, and weirdly having a sick child was keeping their marriage together. That was what I was thinking it was. I didn't really see the twist coming. So Brooke had said what the twist was, and he's the devil's son. He's, you know, like the actual spawn of Satan.
Yeah. So, and apparently he has a lot of kids throughout the whole country.
Yeah.
So, he puts them
86.
through like tests and trials, and he wants them to get out of those situations, see if they can survive getting out of those situations. And she wasn't allowed to help him or anything.
Yeah. I'm going to say I didn't love the twist. I didn't love that he... No. I say that because I thought they did a really good job with the disease of it all, and a really good job with like that family dynamic. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's the devil's son. And maybe if I watch it again, I'll see more like hints or something. But I felt like it wasn't earned. Like they didn't earn it for me. I was like, oh, that's just a twist for a twist's sake. But even when he was, you know, going full evil at the end, I was still rooting for him. So
Yes, so was I. I was like, does this make me a freak? Because, oh, go Eli, go Eli. How dare they inject holy water into your veins?
I know. And it's funny
felt
because
sorry for him.
you felt sorry for him.
Yeah, I just felt
Yeah.
sorry for him. I was like, oh.
Yeah, you know, there's been a lot of movies recently, I think, about like or just in general, just about like the evil child, the evil kid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he was
So
so sweet.
he was so sweet. He was so sweet. That's why I was just like, oh no, don't make him go fully
But did you
bad.
notice? Did you notice? Every time his mother said, "I love you," he said, "I know." He
Yeah.
never said, "I love you" back.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, that is true.
Uh-huh.
Wow. I didn't
And the
notice
father
it.
was so jealous of their bond. He was telling him how he was so jealous of knowing that he had his mother's love that way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so. It was an interesting family dynamic, obviously. So that I was really intrigued by the whole thing, by the dad, and that relationship, because
Yes.
he was just so disjointed from his family. Like
Mm-hmm.
the dad at first, I didn't even think that he was the boy's father. I thought maybe he's like the boyfriend or the stepfather,
Right.
because he wasn't warm towards him. And
Yeah.
I
No,
think,
he's very distant.
yeah.
I didn't even feel that he was his father. If you notice, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking this in my head. When they were introduced at the when they were doing the introductions at the home,
Mhm.
I don't even think that they related to him as the boy's father.
No.
Oh.
Did they?
No, they really didn't. You know, because
Mhm.
I was thinking the same thing, and I thought, oh, maybe it's just because it's all women. They
Mm-hmm.
were just assuming that maybe his connection with his son wasn't nearly as strong, because it was like he was barely even there
And he was so angry all the
all
time.
the time. And I
So,
didn't.
do you think they knew? Do you think they knew that he was the devil's son
Yes.
Oh
the
yes,
whole entire
because
time? They knew.
because she's
Oh,
the mom is
that's
the
probably
reason
why.
why. Is why he was um, sick all the time, because she was injecting holy water into his veins, and all of these
Mhm.
things. And then at the very end, when she's talking to Eli, she says, "I wanted you so badly, and I prayed and I
Mhm.
prayed, but then like the gist was, but God didn't listen."
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's why it was like, who did
Mhm.
you pray to? Like,
Yeah.
what did you do? So they knew the entire time. And I think the dad knew there was a very good chance that Eli would die during the.
I think he wanted him to.
I think he wanted him
Yeah.
to, because that's when the mom got so angry, when she
Yes.
was like, "You knew he was going to die, and you."
Yeah.
That was one death I was rooting for.
As it was,
I
was
just
dad.
didn't think it was going to come from, I just didn't think Eli was going to be the one to do it.
I know. I thought the mom was going to kill her husband. I
Yes.
thought, yeah, and I kind of
Yeah.
wanted her to.
And I thought that what ended up being nuns were evil. And I just had that mindset so much that when they were gone, I was like, yeah.
So what I might have to do a rewatch to the movie, because I'm confused. Not really confused, but the first two stages of the treatment, they call it.
Yes.
I mean, it was very medical what they were doing. So
Mhm.
I have to wonder, like, were they doing that just to torture him? Did they somehow
Right.
need his bone marrow? Like,
I thought they was really trying to cure him, like trying to help him.
Yeah.
In the end, I suppose they were, but the third stage of the treatment is to let the soul free.
Right.
And so stage 3, if the child gets to stage 3, it's a dagger in the heart.
Yeah.
You know?
So that part, like I got that, but I'm still like, my head is still having a hard time wrapping around, like, why did they have to drill into his brain?
Right.
Oh, wow.
It was to put holy water because the blood-brain barrier wouldn't let the holy water, go into his brain. So they drilled in there and injected holy water into his brain.
Right. That now it makes sense, because I was like, what are they even doing in his bone marrow?
Other herbs. They said there were other herbs that they were using.
There were, like tannis and holy water, things that you would, like, when you watch enough horror movies, you realize that it's like the ingredients for an exorcism.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And it did not work. I mean, it's not going to work because he's the son. He's not possessed.
Yeah.
He's not. He is the spawn.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of spawn out there, apparently.
The devil really gets around.
Yeah, right. Like, I think that they didn't know that he was that powerful. Like,
right.
They knew he was strong and had powers and stuff, but I didn't think they didn't think that he was that strong. And he ended up, like, it was wild. He ended up killing everybody, the doctor and everything. I'm like, wow.
Not the mom.
Oh yeah, but I think he loved her. Like, he had some love in his heart. Like, she, at the end, the girl was like, "Are you gonna bring her with us?" And then he was like, "Yeah." And so he let her go with him. But I don't think she's gonna leave him. I don't think she's gonna let him go.
In the end, it's like the roles were reversed. He was telling her to breathe.
Yeah.
Blow out the candles.
Yeah.
And
in
the end, they drove off into the night because there was no sunrise. It was night with two of the devil's kids going to go see Dad.
Yeah,
let's go meet Dad.
She's probably like, oh gosh, I was hoping I'd never have to see him again.
Right, man.
I think for me, it's hard to beat certain Spawn of Satan movies. Like, it's really hard to beat The Omen. So so the second it was like, oh, he's the Spawn of Satan, I immediately I switched thinking about the movie as being like this medical horror with like gothic overtones to all of a sudden I was comparing it to Omen. And
there is no comparison.
I know. And I'm like, I love The Omen so much. And I love Rosemary's Baby so much that
I have not seen Rosemary's Baby.
It's really good.
I know I need to. That's on my list.
I feel like that should be
okay.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, I love Rosemary's Baby. I read the book. It's so good. And it's canon. It's canon for like creepy it was like the beginning of new horror when because it's not in like an old gothic-y house, it's in a Manhattan apartment building. So it's oh, you love it.
And they did a remake of that movie too. They did a remake and made it into a 2-part TV series. It was good too. Like, I didn't think it was going to be good, but it was actually decent.
I never even heard about that.
Yeah, it has Zoe Saldana in it, and she plays Rosemary.
Oh, interesting.
It's really good.
Oh.
It is a little different though, but
so I should watch the original first, right?
Yes,
I would watch
it first.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I wonder if the TV version, the newer version, is more like the book than it is the movie.
With it being split into 2 parts, there's more that they could add.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
So,
it's like
exciting. Rosemary's Baby next week.
it's like
Yes.
3 hours. I think
Let's
it's
do
like
it.
3 hours. Yeah.
Just
Yes, let's do it.
it's whatever we were going to watch for this week, because
Mhm.
last week was so epic with Antebellum.
Yeah,
This one was going to fall short no matter what it was.
that's
No
what I
matter what
thought
it was.
I thought the same thing. I was like, because I've been still thinking about Antebellum for like
Yeah.
2 weeks now, and I've been talking about it to people. So going into
Mhm.
Eli, I remember thinking, well, it's not going to be Antebellum.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, I'm already disappointed. But I
But
did.
Rosemary's Baby will be canon, right?
It's canon.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Oh, so what
But
I
you know, ever since we watched Antebellum, a lot of people have been watching it. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna check this movie out." Like they're watching it. I've seen at least 50 people say they're watching
Oh,
this,
that's
watching that movie.
amazing.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow,
Good.
all because of what
Yeah.
we did.
I love that. I love that. I loved the part in like the mood of Eli, I guess, like the
Mhm.
mood of the entire movie. Once they got to the home, I'm a sucker for those like gothic tropes of you're in a big old creepy house and it might or might not be haunted. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for that no matter what. And I liked that normally in these situations, in those like in the gothic shows or movies, it's like the woman is the one going, but there's a ghost. I know there's a ghost. And nobody
Yeah.
believes the woman. So it was interesting to me for them to put a child in that position.
And the whole thing is
Right.
they knew there was.
Yes.
The nuns knew there was.
I know. Like
Yeah.
every
Or
like
nurses.
nurses. I know. Yeah, I was astounded with the fact that poor Eli, every bit of his life has been a lie since he was born.
Exactly. Remember that part with the ghost?
Yeah.
Lie.
Lie. Yep.
Yeah.
And
I
it
know.
turned out to be 317.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all good. So but yeah, the devil part kind of bummed me out, but
yeah, that was like a no go for you. I'm like,
you know, it's not even that it was a no-go. It was just it changed the movie
Changed
for
the
me.
whole movie.
It changed the whole movie. And that's, you know, sometimes that's good and sometimes it's bad. And this time it wasn't, I don't want to say I hated the end, but I was really looking forward to it being like a strange medical thing. I don't know why. I got my heart set on that.
man.
I felt that the nurses or whatever would play a bigger part
Yeah.
in it being so creepy. And I thought that the medical procedures would play a bigger part because it was kind of the way that they, pumped up this movie. And that is the first 3/4 of it. And it was wonderful. The last
Wow.
part of it that I wasn't expecting, I rooted for him.
You have to. It's always fun to, I mean, I rooted for Damien in The Omen. And he was not a nice boy.
You really did?
I did. Because, I mean, I hate to say it, but at the end of the day, if you're a child and you're the spawn of Satan, you still,
Not
I
your
don't
fault.
know. It's not your fault. You're like,
Yeah.
you didn't ask for Satan to be your father. So, and you know, if you're truly evil, I mean, I guess it's,
Uh-oh.
My dog. Come here, girl. He's barking outside.
But it was good timing with the dog barking because it reminded me of the scene in The Omen when anybody would try to go near Damien, the dog would just like go into the hallway and like growl and be like, "Get away from him."
That's what she does. She's like, I'm like, you're like a tiny dog, girl, boo. But man,
yeah, the nurses were so weird, and I wish they had gone, since they did go the spawn of Satan route.
Right.
I would have liked to find out more about those nuns, those nurse nuns, about
Right.
why they were the ones chosen, Were there
Mhm.
more of them once? Did they
What
die?
happened to the rest of the is- convent? I almost called it a coven. What
Yeah,
happened to the rest of the convent?
yeah, because that
And
picture, there were so many of them, and I'm like,
mhm.
so that made me. I would have liked more about that too. So if they were gonna do, which they did, the Spawn of Satan thing, I really, I would have liked more about the history of
Yes.
even like a little
Other
flashback
than
scene.
them
Yeah.
killing the other children in the
Yeah,
name of the Holy Ghost or whatever.
whatever. I know, whatever that was. And I'm like, okay, and then they stab him in the heart. All right. It was just such a
And then they
So
put their
their
bodies
version of
into this pit
mhm.
down in the, was it in the basement?
yeah, it
Like
was
a
like in the
cellar?
Yeah,
yeah, like a dungeon with a cross and a pit
And
and a
pentagram.
pentagram. Yeah. So when I
I
saw the
thought it was evil
pentagram,
nuns. I thought it was
I
evil
did
nuns.
too. I was like, oh, I see. I thought it was like Satan worshippers or something like that, and maybe
Mhm.
they.
uh,
So yeah, I didn't quite get their whole gig.
so their way of saving the devil spawn is by killing them. Basically, they was just getting rid of them.
I think
Saving
it
their
was
souls.
purifying the soul through like medical reasons, like medical purposes, like Carly was saying. So like filling the body and the brain and everything with all the holy water and trying to kind of almost like exorcise the demon and then freeing his soul once it was like blessed. So basically thinking like freeing
They're
the
just
soul,
saving his soul.
saving a soul, because creepy nuns, I guess that's what they do.
Man.
That was fantastic.
So everybody but the kid knew. Everybody but the kid knew that he was the
Yes.
devil's kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
And everybody but the mom and Eli knew that he was going to die.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what made me hate the dad even more, because he was just so cold about it. Just like,
Yeah.
and I understand that like your wife had sex with the devil and that's not your child. So you could be he can be bitchy about that. I get it.
Yeah.
But
Wanting the child to die.
yeah,
Yeah.
wanting the child to die, and like, and not being supportive of his wife when she was just
Right.
like, what if he dies? Oh my gosh. I don't, she obviously didn't want that to happen. And he was just like,
Yep.
we've got to do it, Nope,
Yeah.
he was just a matter of fact about it.
Yeah. I think since he knew it was the devil's son, he was just like, yeah, whatever, let him die.
See, he lied to the mother and said that these nurses, nuns, had cured every
Mhm.
patient that they'd been with,
Yeah.
and their cure is to save their
Oh,
soul. It's
yeah.
not to save the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, what he was saying wasn't a lie, but it wasn't
Mhm.
exactly
Yes.
the truth. So
Right.
I think that was how he probably justified it to himself. Like, well, I didn't lie to you. They did save those children.
Yeah.
Or so
Technically.
they think the souls are kind of, haunting that place.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And
which
so,
ended
and
up
then
going up in flames. Poor creepy house.
I know I hate to see a destruction of a creepy house, but yeah,
With
I was
crosses on
thinking,
the door.
yeah, the ghosts were. I love creepy, scary ghost children.
Yes.
I mean, I love it, and especially realizing that the ghosts were also the spawns of Satan. Like, how scary are those ghosts? They check off all the
Dragging
boxes.
him outside, and
Oh,
I mean,
God.
they were
Yeah.
strong.
They were strong, but they did that so he would realize that everybody had been lying to him. So, like, in their
Yeah, they
way,
kinda
their
helped him.
creepy devil ghost children way, they were helping him.
Yeah. But I think the little girl was still alive, though, wasn't she? She was still alive.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
She
She
made
had
it
never
out.
been inside the house.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, she had never been inside the house, and she'd watched all of them try to break out, and she kept telling him, "You're stronger than the rest of them. You're stronger
Mhm.
than the rest of them."
Yeah. I liked her in the movie. So
Yeah, she's a really good actress too.
And she just smirks and says, "Yeah, Dad gets around."
right.
I know, it kind of bummed me out though, because I thought they had kind of like a little crush on each other, and then I'm like, oh, I guess they're brother and
Oh.
sister.
And so that won't work.
I'm like, darn. I thought we were gonna get like Eli's first kiss or something.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, so overall, I think it was a good movie. It wasn't Antebellum great.
Right. Nothing was
But-
going to compare to Antebellum. Nothing.
That was
know. Yeah, because Antebellum was the perfect movie to watch at the beginning of this historic week that we've just
Oh,
all
yes.
lived through. So,
wow. I was like, oh, maybe people just got tired of Trump. Like, a lot of Republicans voted for Biden. A lot of Republicans was like, we made a mistake by electing Trump. I'm like, wow. I've seen a lot of posts about that, and I'm like, wow.
I'm kind of in a bubble because Ohio was red, but the county that I'm in was blue. So I'm in a little bit of a bubble.
yeah. When I lived in Ohio, I lived in Columbus, so it was a similar feeling. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very red state, but the city that I was in was blue. And I live in a blue state, thankfully.
Lucky. I'm in a red state, Kentucky, man. It's pretty bad down here. Like, there was gunshots last night, and I'm like, there was ambulance, cops, everything driving past my apartment. I'm like, hope nobody got shot. But yeah, people got shot.
Ooh.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a horror movie in and of itself.
It was quiet. Well, quiet in our neighborhood, but everybody in my apartment building itself was celebrating.
Wow.
Everybody in their own apartments watching watching the speech last night. Everybody was celebrating.
Yeah,
Had some champagne and wearing some shoes. That glass ceiling breaking. That meme that I saw, it's fantastic.
I know. So it's great. It's great that we've been able to kind of experience all of this together, even though we don't live anywhere close to each other. It's good to share this with you. So next week will be Rosemary's Baby Week.
Yes. And I am a Rosemary's Baby virgin, so it'll be my first watch.
That's even more exciting to me.
Is it going to creep? I hope it really creeps me out. That'll be fantastic.
It's I don't want to say it won't freak you out, but horror has changed so much over the past like 30, 40 years that at the time it was, I think, very, very freaky. It still unnerves me. It still unnerves me to this day.
Yeah, those are the ones that I love. I mean, like The Exorcist has stood.
That's the movie my mom wasn't allowed to watch.
Was The Exorcist?
Yeah, she wasn't allowed to watch it. She was scared, and she tried to sneak to go and watch it, and my grandma was like, "No, you're not watching that."
It is a scary movie.
It's still scary.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready for next week.
You all should watch the remake too. On top of that,
what is the remake on?
It is on Tubi. Okay. It's free, so you can watch it on there. Or if you have Fire Stick, you can watch it.
I think I've got it on Roku. I think we've got Tubi.
Okay. I'll send you all the picture of it so you'll know what it looks like.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So
I will watch the original first.
Yes.
So this was fun. So next week, tune in for Rosemary's Baby. We will discuss that. The following week, you guys are going to be on your own because I'm taking a writing workshop.
Nice.
So I'm very, very excited about that.
That'll
Yes,
be
it's
fun.
online. It's going to be really good. The person who's teaching it is the author Diane Zinna, and she wrote the novel The All Night Sun that came out this year. And I think that's probably in like my top 5 books I've ever read in my life.
Oh, wow.
It's such a good book. And she was on my other show, Vox Vomitus, and we became friends.
Nice.
And she's teaching a workshop, and I'm lucky enough to take it.
Nice. How much is it?
I can't remember anymore, honestly. It was a few $100s, but I think all the spaces are gone. But it's a workshop about writing about grief.
You're writing. Oh, nice.
So
That would be wonderful.
the horror novels that I write, that I've written so far, all have like a basis in grief, like grief horror.
Mhm.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I will be here next week for Rosemary's Baby. So,
Okay.
Okay.
All right, everybody. If you want to benevolently stalk us, you can always go to Talk Horror to me on Facebook, and it's a pretty active page. There's always things being posted. If you want to individually benevolently stalk us, you can visit my website, jenniferannegordon.com. You can visit Carly's website, which is
thatonewriterchick.com.
love it. and Brooke, your website again is
sheblurbs.wikisite.com.
nice. All right. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
We're still here.